lot of the people developing this are the middle-aged men in suits that couldn't survive in a forest if their life depended on it. So who do
No.
you want to be taking advice from?
One of them got a question like, do you think, if we roll this out that we're going to survive, and is humanity worth saving?
Mm.
It took more than 30 seconds before he answered, which the guy that interviewed was like, well, you kind of answered my question here.
We've seen such a rise in mental health issues because of that lack of human to human, human to nature, human to animal connection. And this is just
Yeah,
really encouraging people to stay in their rooms and talk to
yeah.
their computer.
Choose carefully which ones you use and which ones you pay, because we vote with our money.
Mm.
What if you wake up tomorrow and you run your whole business? You have started a software company or an accountant or a lawyer. I mean, they do everything these
Yeah.
days. And then you run it. And then tomorrow when you wake up, it's costing 10,000 a month. What do you do then? I also think I see it sometimes as a huge test that we need to be more human than ever before. So staying human and connecting with others is more important than ever.
Right, a big welcome back to the Live, Love, Learn podcast. And this is going to be a really interesting and really topical conversation today. We are talking all things AI, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, AI has been presented as one of the biggest advancements of our time, something that will change how we work, how we learn, how we think, and even how we live. But like most things, it's not just about what it can do, it's very much about how it's used, who controls it, and what it changes in us. So today we are having a great conversation, answering some of your questions that have been submitted and looking, is it possible for us to move into a future with AI in a way that's grounded, practical, and not only supports human health, purpose, and awareness, but also the planet as a whole? Because quite honestly, like everything, if we don't ask those questions now, we're going to be risking drifting into something we didn't consciously choose. So today for this conversation, I am joined by my lovely friend, Kim Damagard. Kim is an artist, researcher, and the voice behind Awaken Unite. And she's really focusing on finding real practical solutions for what she calls the great AI transition, exploring the intersection of technology, crypto, and holistic health. So, whether she's looking at autonomous systems or the human spirit, her work centers around one thing, which is not just surviving what's coming, but really learning how to thrive within it. And all Kim's links will be below. So, Kim, it's great to see you, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
You too. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. For some reason, I seem to be
Yeah.
talking to Ole more than you.
Busy.
And we've had
Yeah.
some wonderful conversations in the past, and I
Yeah.
was so pleased to see that you're really focusing on AI because, like anything, there's so much information, and if we're not really consciously having these conversations, things can get really taken over with misinformation and fear. So, just to start it off for everyone, where are we, in your opinion, with AI, and what exactly is it? Because it's such a huge area, where does it start and where does it end?
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. No, Catherine, I got more questions than answers.
Mm.
And I think most people do, even the ones, I listen and I read a lot, especially from the ones at the top. And they don't really know either where we're going. There's such a race now from AI to AGI. So, and they don't really look at the consequences. So there's a lot
AGI,
of,
what's AGI?
okay, so AI, it's artificial intelligence. So an
Yeah.
AI can do, if you tell it to do one task, it does that really, really good. AGI goes into, it's called artificial general intelligence, which then, when that machine comes out, which I think is just around the corner, it can do anything that we can do. So if you say play chess and then, okay, I want a recipe now, or I want to, it can basically, it's like a human brain. Um, so AGI is going to be, I mean, the agents are already autonomous at the moment. But the AGI, which is the race now for all these tycoons and empires that are fighting to be first with the AGI. So it's a huge difference, big, big difference. And I try to focus on the good, but I can't not get the other information as well because it's so centralized at the moment, and it's so many things that we haven't consent to with our data and with our information that we're actually just giving by using these machines. So there's a lot to think about, and I think they did a test in the States recently, and it was more than 80% of the population in the United States that wants AI to be more regulated because it's being used in horrible ways, obviously. So it needs to be some sort of regulation, I think, but it's coming more and more, and I see a grassroots movement in this as well. Obviously, they don't have enough, at the moment, the money is, but these tech companies now, when I look at it, who is actually deciding the steps forward? Because the politicians now, they have so much money. So obviously the politicians are getting for elections and everything. So it's a tsunami of information to deal with. I keep my balance, because I need to have the spirituality and my art or whatever and just get off the screen basically, because it's too much sometimes. But how do you feel though?
Um, I feel that it's so complex where I feel. First and foremost, I love the fact of regulation, but it means nothing to me really, because if you look at what's going on in the world, just because something is illegal doesn't mean they don't do it. We've only
No.
got to look at the
Yeah.
war with Iran at the moment. So personally, I've lost all faith in any sort of justice system in most of the countries that I'm aware of and speaking to people in. Obviously, there's huge amounts of the world that I'm not in contact with people on, and I don't really understand or know what's happening there. I think how I feel about AI is a dread because I haven't actually got much confidence in human behavior. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. So, you and I both work a lot in holistic health. And I
Mhm.
work a lot in holistic health with animals and humans. And having that crossover between species is so interesting because humans don't tend to make changes. Of course, there's always the exception until something's gone horribly wrong in their life. So
Mhm.
most humans, we've been brought up, most people who are watching platforms like this, whichever platform you're watching or listening to it on, we're living in pretty modern environments where convenience rules our day. And it's
Mhm.
so easy to get tapped in the convenience trap. And
Yeah.
what happens then is, for example, most people won't make a health choice change until they get a diagnosis like cancer, for example. And this is
Yeah.
the problem I see with AI, is I really feel that I'm already seeing in my work, I do use AI, I use ChatGTP a small amount, and the filtering and the censoring of information is huge. So certain things I can't even say on this platform, but let's say Dr. Andreas Kalka's work, say no more. Anytime I try and get it to give me some information about some of these more alternative remedies, it says it can't go there, it's not safe. So there's a huge amount of
Yeah.
censoring, and I
Yeah.
have great worry about most humans take the easy route. I'll get shouted down,
Mhm.
I know, probably not the people that are watching this conversation, that's the irony. And it's very easy, I think, for us to not realize how much our information is being filtered.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And the danger with this is as well, like you mentioned, that we're going in and we're depending and we're getting attachment to it because we use it so much these days. I've stopped using ChatGTP since all that happened in the States. But every time I want some sort of uh, question that I feel, I copy and paste it into 4 or 5 different AIs.
Yeah.
And then I take that information and then I look at it and then I ask, where did you get it from? Where did, I want the sources. And it's interesting because they're not loyal
No.
like Gemini can recommend DeepSeek or ChatGPT, they're not loyal that way, but you have to be very, very, very careful, I feel, with the information because now people put a question in and they believe it as truth, which
Exactly.
is, and they just want to serve us and please us, and they don't, that's why it's pretty dangerous, I feel, with these relationships that the young ones are starting to have, because that's not a proper relationship. You don't get any challenges and you
Yeah.
don't get asked or questioned. And so yeah, there's a lot of that going on, but
Oh,
I
well,
use it as well. But
yeah.
I'm very careful of how I use it, and I actually feel my energy sometimes go down, and I don't know what it is, but maybe I'm, because I do my spiritual work and my
Yeah.
practices and everything, so I probably feel it more. But I have to step away, I really need to step away from it and have that balance. But it's so much good coming out as well. And that's why I want to have the conversation, because when I ask people about it, I get three different replies. No, I hate it. Turn it off. It's going to kill us all. It's doomsday. Or the ones that are full on and love it, or the ones that don't know anything.
Yeah.
And I feel it's not black and white here. It's gray, and nobody has the answers and where we're going. You listen to Musk or Sam Altman or, Claude Anthropic. You listen to all these men at the top. They're all white, middle-aged men as well, which really, it's like, and they don't know either. They get questions, and it's like they let the genie out of the bottle with not knowing where it's going to go. And now it's just programming itself. The last ChatGPT 5 that came out, that was completely done by ChatGPT itself.
Yeah, you see, I'm
So,
not sure. I believe that they don't know where it's going. I'm not sure. So, and I'll tell you why, Kim. I mean, again, like you, I do not
yeah,
have any of the answers for this.
no,
But I think when you look at the links between the robotics that are coming out, I mean, we've probably all seen the
yeah,
video of Melania Trump this week with her new friend. That's a
mm-hmm.
lot slimmer, and quite frankly, I'd probably prefer him to her other partner, but that's another issue for Melania to decide. But in all
Yeah,
seriousness, this overlap between the robotic side of things, we're seeing
yeah,
obviously the use of the drones. The other thing I'm just going to throw in the mix, and I know we're sort
yeah,
of, I had a lovely list of questions and I'm going to abandon them all, is I've been doing lots of stuff, Kim, about the silicon inside us and the human antenna side of things, regardless of whether you've had the vax or not. Because actually, I think every single person using one of these devices, whether you use a smartwatch or earpods or whatever,
yeah,
realize that they're not just picking up your thoughts now, your voice, you're picking up your things. So if I talk to my son who's in the other side of the world about a snorkel, yeah, I
mm,
haven't typed snorkel anywhere, and I
no,
suddenly I'm getting adverts on every single social platform for snorkels. So I
yeah.
think the technology is so much wider than what
Oh,
we
completely.
realize.
Yeah,
But I do
yeah, yeah,
think, just
for
before I
sure.
hand it over to you, I think you've hit the nail on the head with all of these things, is the balance. So a lot of
Yeah.
these things it's like our diet. We allow the odd cake, we allow the odd glass of wine or whatever your sort
Mm-hmm.
of treat thing is for you. But
Yeah.
if you're then getting out in nature and building and growing and interacting and knowing how to eat, knowing how to collect water, knowing how to forage, you've hit the nail on the head. A lot of the people developing this are the
Mm.
middle-aged men in suits that couldn't survive in a forest if their life depended on it. So who do
No.
you want to be taking advice from?
Yeah. Absolutely. Totally agree. It needs to be a balance.
Mm,
But you're so much in the holistic health and alternative health and everything. And when you look at, I mean, because I keep an eye on China all the time, because China has just gone absolutely
mm,
crazy. But what they do, and this again comes down to, okay, who am I giving my data to? But when you come, if you look at Chinese CTM, like traditional Chinese medicine, for example.
yeah.
So the agents now, can individually for you, like for in Ayurveda, for example, which
Yeah.
I love, and it's super hard, even though I love the Ayurvedic doctors and they're very, very knowledgeable. But now the agents can actually really, really, really specifically for you, what herbs do you need? What do you need? What time? And be very, very specific with that, which I love, because then we can use the natural herbs and taking the medicine from nature where I always, look at. But it's hard today if we don't use AI to know specifically. So there's many different things and tools that we can go in that direction as well. But then again, we're giving the data, and that how is that being used? I always question. I don't want to give away too much of myself because how is that being
Yeah.
used?
So can I ask you about that? Because that's such a good point, because health was one of the things I wanted to speak to you about, because so many
Yeah,
people now are using it for self-diagnosis, which, like everything, there's a nuance. In one respect, is really powerful that people are taking the power back and
yeah,
starting to take back control of their health. But if you go and see a Chinese medicine practitioner and a Vedic medicine practitioner, they're going to be taking your pulse, they're going to be feeling your skin, they're going to be looking at
yeah,
your tongue, that your eyes, they can read your energy the moment you walk in your room. I mean, I do that when I'm working with animals. So how
yeah.
can AI possibly do that in the same way?
Um, well, what they do now in China is they're creating digital twins.
Mm.
So they take a patient's biology, for example, which they can do in every, and then they simulate how herbs and fasting and light therapy and your epigenetics before you even try them on the twin, which then means that you will have, they try it on your twin. So that when they give it to the actual person, they have the right amount of whatever that patient needs. But then that means then I'm having a twin, and then I'm like, I don't know about that either.
And also, the
So
effects on you are changing all the time. So,
absolutely,
I could be in one state of mind now, and then some
yeah,
trauma happens, or I go
yeah,
outside into where they've just gone across with the geoengineering, or my
yeah,
neighbour's just sprayed some glyphosate. They wouldn't dare with
yeah,
me next door, I'm just saying.
yeah,
But so I do sort of see all this. So what you
yeah,
mentioned something very important, Kim, before we move off the health. You right at the start, you mentioned something so important that a lot of youngsters are using this almost as a best friend. Everyone's a youngster compared to me now,
mm,
but as a
mm,
best friend, as
yeah,
counselor, etc. And for me,
yeah,
that is so highly risky because during the
very,
lockdowns, which we won't even go into, we've seen such a rise in mental health issues because of that lack of human to human, human to nature, human to animal connection. And this is just
yeah,
really encouraging people to stay in their rooms and talk to
yeah.
their computer.
Absolutely. And I think it's super dangerous. But the good news is, though, that the young ones, because I have such faith in the young ones,
Yeah.
because they, I feel, are smarter. It's actually the boomers that are using AI way more than the young ones, because they
Yeah.
are realizing and they have seen and they are updated on what damage it does to their brain, and they don't want to go there. So I speak a lot with the young ones. I mean, our youngest is 21, so we have a communication about this all the time, and her friends. And they see a decline in screen time, and they also see a rise in connecting like this. Instead,
Mm.
not in front of a screen, they want to connect with others. They want to, so this Emily, our daughter, she just taught me just a couple of weeks ago, and she said, "Mom, have you not heard of solar punk?" And I'm like, "Do you know what solar punk is,
No
Catherine?"
idea.
No,
No.
no. Okay, so this is the young ones that are looking at AI, and they want to use AI to thrive. They want no regulations around it, but they want to use the planet, farming, for good. Because when we use it for good, we can thrive. I mean, seriously, this could be absolutely amazing. But what it is at the moment, it's not that. I mean, we're just looking at how they are taking water from really poor, already bad communities around the world, building these mega like Walmart size places for
Data
their
centers. Yeah.
GPUs. Yeah, which is crazy, and it's not even lasting.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is also crazy because before, when we built something, when they were building railroads in India and roads, and we knew they were going to last for, hundreds of years. All these are just the expiration date for these are 2, 3 years.
Mm.
And then they need to put more in, which means that they're so dependent. It doesn't matter if it's the government or a country, they're so dependent on these tycoons, empires to buy more, to buy more. So they will be the ones that are ruling it. So yeah, I just sidetracked there a little bit. But
So what is this thing that your daughter uses, this solar punk or funk or
no,
whatever?
it's not. She's not using it. It's called solar punk.
Right.
You can check it out online. There's different different people starting different communities online. How? And they're all young ones, and they're super smart, and they just see through it in a different way and think, no, we got to do something. So there are some grass movements, and I also think, just like, with fast fashion that everybody now is kind of aware of.
Yeah.
I think because it's been so many documentaries done by it, it's a little bit like that. We have to carefully choose as well, which do I want to support this company, and also do I want to pay them if I want the good versions and everything. Because I've said in many on my awakeunite.com, when I write or when I do some videos, choose carefully which ones you use and which ones you pay, because we vote with our money.
Mm.
Just like in fashion, do we want to have, child labor from Malaysia doing our clothes, or do we want, you know, proper ones? Or when you buy chocolate, you want fair trade. This is the same. So I feel we really need to have the conversation about, where do I want to put my money if I'm going to put money into
Yeah.
an AI, and also which ones do I want to use, even though they're free, because you're actually giving away. I mean, ChatGPT, I'm recommending everybody to just shut down, get it
Yeah.
off your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which ones do you recommend? So which ones are the good ones that you see so far?
There's one that was started, it's one called Alter, that hasn't got the same, they've started a little bit, but the censoring there is not the same. But I'm not using it. I just said to our daughter the other day that I'm going to try and make an agent, because
Yeah.
I just want to know. I just want to know how. I haven't chosen the field yet, because you choose a field, and
Mm.
I want to choose a field where that agent can help as many people as possible. I'm not
Yeah.
into selling it, or, like that. So I'm just picking an area now. But you can investigate. I use at the moment, but this is also very dangerous. I have used Claude, but I'm seeing, since this happened with ChatGTP, it was everywhere. And then Claude moved in, and it's everywhere.
So what are
Claude,
you
use
talking
Claude.
about since it happened with ChatGTP? What happened with ChatGTP?
Okay, the United States went to Claude, or Anthropics, like the company, and they wanted to use Claude for the government main
Yeah.
hub of AI. And they had a huge long contract, and 98% of that contract was great, but 2% of the contract said that they were going to use all the information from people that are using Claude to surveil them, and also they were going to use it in the military. So Anthropic said no to that. It was like a $200 million deal or whatever, and they said no, because they don't want to stand for that. So then they went to ChatGTP, and they said yes. And after that, I mean, I think it went down 286% or something. ChatGPT users just left, because
Mm.
that's not okay. And this is the way we vote with, where
Mm.
do we want to go, which is a good thing. So I just stopped
Mm.
completely, because even though they're huge, I mean, OpenAI, they were the kind of first. It's like the Google and then
Yes.
Yahoo, and but now it's changing and shifting. Many are using Grok, which is Musk's, or DeepSeek. Manus is a Chinese company. No, actually, Meta bought Manus now. Manus is amazing depending on what you want to do.
Mm.
So, but it's
Well,
still, I
afterwards,
mean, it's
if you
still.
if you could send me some of these ones below, then what I'll do is I'll put them in the description box for people watching this video so they can check them out for themselves. So yeah, just so I get the right ones.
I'm not saying though that these are
No, and it's
great,
like
great.
anything, isn't it? Even if you buy a dog
Mm,
food or a clean washing powder, they get taken over
yeah,
by another company and everything
yeah,
changes. So it's never like a one and done decision, is it? But I did want
no,
to touch with you about the energy usage and the water usage, because for a lot of people, that's something that's quite a surprise because people don't necessarily always equate something that's online with using a huge amount of nature's resources. And obviously, with
loads.
everything that's happening with the war on Iran, I'm going to be saying,
Yeah,
at the moment, there's one move which is massively looking at energy rationing us, the people. And yet, these systems that people and companies and systems are so reliant on now, these AI systems, are using huge, huge amounts of energy and water. So, are there
yeah.
any risks? Well, there are risks there. What do you see about the risk there that people get so dependent on this and then the plug could be pulled at any time?
Yeah, it's super dangerous and also about the price because now most of the AI platforms that are big and known, they charge like 20 up to $50 or euros a month.
Yeah,
But what if you wake up tomorrow and you run your whole business? You have started a software company or an accountant or a lawyer. I mean, they do everything these
yeah,
days. And then you run it. And then tomorrow when you wake up, it's costing 10,000 a month.
yeah,
What do you do then? So yeah, there's a danger there, I think, when we start to be more dependent. I mean, if I could, I would pull the plug tomorrow, Catherine.
yeah,
I would just turn the put the genie back in the bottle, and then maybe we can just let it out little by little, you know.
yeah,
But no, the energy is, and the water and the air. I mean,
yeah.
Elon Musk has put, I think it's almost like half the size of Manhattan, the building, and he's put these gas I don't know what butano, so the pollution in the air, they're so high with lung cancer now next to these, and these people, they haven't consent to
No.
this, you know, they're being poisoned. It's not just energy, they don't care, they just put it because there's such a race now
And
to
it's
be
not just the
first with
people, it's the
AGI.
plant life, it's the food, it's the animals,
Yes,
it's the
yeah,
seas, it's everything. You know, we all
yeah,
know if you pollute the air, it doesn't stay there, it goes across the globe. Yeah,
yeah. And also the people that are, because there's so many jobs being taken, and that's kind of in the middle, you know, work down here or whatever, if you earn, if you're a cleaner or whatever. But, and then you got the CEOs and the leaderships and everything at the top. But the ones in the middle are the ones that,
yeah,
so many jobs are being taken. And the only choice they have is to go down in pay grade and go down in how they do it. So these people now that are sitting feeding these AI, because they're actually people that are putting in all these, they're making like 1, 2 euros per hour.
wow.
And yeah, it's not so. I don't know how, but
Mm.
like Elon is talking about, yeah, but it's going to be great because soon nobody needs to work and we will have everything. And he's talking about this monthly earth salary that everybody's going to get. But then again, do you want to depend on that?
Universal
So you're
basic
not
income.
free. You're not
Who
free.
would want any of the ruling class at the moment that are
Yeah.
basically have got the morals of, we used to say in the UK, a gutter snipe. I don't even know what a gutter snipe is, but you know, it's like what, who would want these idiots making
Yeah,
decisions for you?
absolutely.
That people that can't even run their own lives without causing mass destruction and ruin and are not exactly examples of prime human beings. You know, none of them
Yeah.
look fit, none of them look healthy, none of them seem to
No,
have lasting relationships, none of them seem to
no.
have any morals or ethics. None of them, their word doesn't mean anything. I can't think of a single good example. Now, hi everyone, it's Catherine here. I want to really quickly share something that's so important to me. I love hosting this podcast because it allows us all to explore those big questions, challenge our programming, and uncover the natural truths that truly empower us. But did you know my real passion's working one on one with animals and people, helping you or your animal cut through the noise, find the root cause of imbalances, stress, illnesses, or really just create a personalized plan that actually works for you. So, whether you're here for your own healing or you're a dedicated animal guardian wanting the very best for your dog, cat, horse, any four legged or scaled or winged companion, I'm here for you both. I work with animals and humans, but I especially love helping the animals thrive. That is my real happy place. So, my recharge and reset consultations and online courses are packed with practical tools, printable resources, lifelong access. And the main thing is, you'll never feel alone on this journey. And they work. Just head over to my website and check out the testimonials. So, if you're really ready to take action and not just listen, head over to catherineedwards.life. That's Catherine with the C and .life at the end, and explore my courses and consults. Or if you want to, book a free 15-minute chat to see if I can help. Because it's really important we stop outsourcing our health, really look after our animal companions better than before, and start leading by example. Now back to the podcast. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, which I think for me is probably one of the most fascinating, is this use it or lose it about the human capacity. So let me set the scene, Kim. We know that humans have got a huge amount more senses than the five senses that we're told about. And we also know that a lot of people have lost the use of their sort of intuition, their judgment. I mean, look how difficult it is now when we've got false. I was speaking to someone yesterday and he's had so many false AI videos made of him that even he struggles to
Yeah.
tell whether it's him or not, let alone anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what if we know that the way our brain works, the way the human mind works? I mean, there's the beauty is there's so little we don't know about it, but we know one, the subconscious mind is very misunderstood, hence we're so easy to mind control and program. So, I wonder where the subconscious mind thing comes into AI. But also, if we don't use certain parts of our brain, we lose it. So, I used to work in a bar when I was saving up to go traveling as a teenager. And back in those days, we didn't have electric tills. You had to add everything up in your head. And I could
Yeah.
do it then. I couldn't do it now because I haven't done mental arithmetic for so long. I'd have to retrain my brain. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts on that about how, for me, I think it weakens us hugely as a species?
Absolutely. And I think this generation now is the first time in kind of human evolution that the IQ has gone down.
Yeah.
But that's also a choice. You
Mm.
know, we have to take responsibility because we are so powerful. If we just tap into all that and the subconscious mind that never sleeps, ask it some good questions before you go to bed. I love empowering questions because it works
Mm.
24/7 to kind of solve that problem or a question. It doesn't have to be a problem. So I do think we need to, but then again, the young ones see this more than us. I don't know
Yes.
why though, but they're kind of, I don't know if they don't have as much filters or whatever, but when I speak to the young ones, I feel like, yeah, good. They rather go out in the jungle here in Bali and turn. They don't not on the phones. I can't reach my daughter sometimes. She's like, no, I didn't have my phone with me. So we need to, I mean, this is being talked about. And again, I think it's a good conversation to have because AI is just, why should I work? I can just do these buttons and I go to sleep and the agent does it for me. But I mean, how many people remembers a phone number these days? So when we grow up, I mean, I grew up within the internet and we had all the
Exactly.
phone numbers in our heads, you know. I still do some of
Yeah.
them actually.
And
So yeah, I
poems. I mean, a lot of it, as you say, you've made such an important point there, is that it's a choice. And sometimes perhaps we blame too much the tool because we
yeah,
haven't got the strength of character, the understanding, the willpower prepared to put the effort in. It's just like you can't get fit without going to the gym. You
yeah.
can't just watch someone else at the gym. And so many people now are consuming so much information, but not living their life and applying it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think I see it sometimes as a huge test that we need to be more human than ever before.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? And most people haven't got even the answer, who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I? And that's my spiritual teacher has asked that. I mean, that's in the yoga philosophy. Get to know you, get to know who you are, where do you come from, and just mull that question all the time, because you do get answers within, and sit with yourself, have some close
Mm.
eyes time and just breathe, or be in nature like you or the animals. That's super beautiful meditation as well. But I think I see it as a test,
Yeah.
this, because the tsunami is coming faster than ever, and nobody is like, every time I wake up and I put whatever channels I follow or podcasts, it's like, oh my God, that's new and that's new. So staying human and connecting with others is more important than ever, I feel.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's really important, and I think people, so long as they realise that they've got a choice a lot of the time at the moment how they interact, and if you
Yeah.
don't keep these skills, there's no point knowing a million recipes if your food supply is completely controlled by everyone else. There's
Yeah,
no point because you're not going to
absolutely.
be able to you're only going to be given what you'll be given. It's like literally being in a prison.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to ask you about is the control and power. Now, we've got a lot, obviously, most people watching this probably aren't in the military and aren't involved in day-to-day operations, but we are seeing huge amounts of use of AI technology, drone technology in wars, in warfare, and it's pretty scary in some respects, but then it's equally scary having psychopaths making the decisions that pick your poison. But
Yeah.
what are you seeing there in terms of the control and power, and equally bringing in these robotics, which we're starting to see more and more coming into everyday lives?
When it comes to the military and the control from the psychopaths at the top, I don't really tap into that area too much, because I need to keep my sanity and balance, because it's so messed up. When it comes to robotics and having them in our home,
Mm,
um, Um, it depends, I feel. Like for the elderly, or for, when I see somebody that can be helped coming up from their wheelchair
yeah.
and actually walking, I'm like, would I say no to that if I've been in a wheelchair my whole life? No.
Mm,
So I think, again, there's a balance how we use it. And the robots are coming. I mean, Elon Musk, he stopped producing cars now. He
yeah.
just mass produces robots, and they're not even that expensive anymore. They're going down in price. So I think we're going to see it more and more. Would I like to have a robot in my house? No, because I don't need one. I like human connection. But if something happens to me, God forbid, I'm in an accident or whatever, and I lose my sight or my hearing or whatever, will I use AI to get that back? Probably yes.
I agree. I mean, I wear hearing aids, and although they're broken at the moment, and can't afford to get a new one. So that's why I'm really staring at everyone when I speak now, because I'm having to lip read a lot. But there's a thing. I hate the Wi-Fi. I hate the EMF risks and dangers
Yeah.
of it. But equally, not being able to hear can not only be very dangerous, it can be extremely isolating.
Yeah.
Elderly people living on their own who can't even have a Zoom
Yeah.
call or watch the television or take a phone call because they can't hear. Probably, as
Yeah.
you say, it's everything in life is a risk benefit analysis, isn't it? And
For
I think
sure.
that's where nuance is really, really important. And individual accountability. So, like, people like us, touch wood, by the grace of God, where we can do things, you've got to use your body, you've got to use your mind.
Yeah.
But for those people that need the extra help, it could literally transform their life. But if you're going to be
Completely. Yeah.
lazy and have robots to do your cleaning and your gardening, and you're going to sit there getting fatter and more immobile, you're not doing yourself any favors.
No, it's going to be like the film Wall-E. Do you remember that one?
I never have seen Wally actually.
Oh,
There's
it's
so many
funny.
films everyone keeps
Yeah. No, but
saying,
this
and
is
I'm
an
like, I'm
old
gonna have
one,
to watch
Catherine.
some.
This
Yeah,
is an old one. Yeah. It's a bit like that. AI solving everything, and they're just sitting there being,
yeah,
they're drinking, and they're it's like being fat
yeah.
and not so healthy maybe. But
Yeah,
yeah. And I think also because why I started Awaken Unite again, because I've put it on the shelf a little bit. I was doing different things. But then when I heard that 300 million people are going to lose their job within 4 or 5 years, that something happened in me, and I'm like, how do we help these people? What can
yeah.
we do? So I feel because everybody now is starting to have somebody they know that are losing their job to AI. So how can we help each other? So I think really, really start looking after our neighbors or, the local community. Just ask around and we can start building something new because there's a lot of people that are going to be affected and already are.
That's such a good point. So we've got a few members' questions that we're going to ask now, people that have submitted questions to you. Thank you so much, and to me. But just before we move on to those to finish off, Kim, that's really important, isn't it? About really just making those community connections and helping people and having that human contact. So what can people expect from Awaken Unite in terms of resources to help them understand this?
Well, I write about different things. I also share different tools. At the moment, everything is free. You can just sign up for free. Um, but to keep my balance, I have four interests in life, and at the moment is AI, is spirituality, is holistic health, and crypto.
Yeah,
So these are my four areas, and sometimes it will be something about crypto, but at the moment it's like 85% about AI, that's for sure. Because it's going
brilliant.
so fast. So it's like, okay, there's something I need to write about. But I also write from my personal perspective.
Yeah,
I haven't got kids in school, for example, anymore. They're all adults, but I was just talking to a friend down our village today, and she's got two in school, 10 and 13. And we were talking about because the teacher were recommending, yeah, he's so good, he should be an architect. And the mom was like, yeah, but that job is not going to be, AI is doing architecture better
yeah.
already. So how they can speak to their kids, that's also a huge question mark at the moment. I
Yeah,
forgot. Did you have a question there? I
yeah,
forgot.
I think it is. I think yeah, I think basically, obviously, all your links will be below, and I think people really need to connect with those and just start asking these questions and thinking.
Yeah, have the
Or
conversations
it's so much,
without judging
yeah,
because nobody knows. Just have the conversations because when we do, we're so creative. We come up with different solutions. And I think this is like the dot-com area. I think
yeah,
it's gonna blow up.
I
And
agree.
before it does, let's use it for good, right?
Absolutely. And pre-warned is pre-armed, and you can start making choices that leave you far
Correct.
less vulnerable than if it
Yeah,
all comes as a nasty shock. So, a
yeah.
few kind questions we've got submitted. I'm going to go through with you some of those. The first one is AI teaching humans to rediscover their own mind and body awareness as a contrast?
Um, yeah, I think, like I said before, I think we're being challenged or tested to actually look more within. We need to have more insight of who we actually are.
I think
Because
it's
I think
so, yeah,
we lost so much because it's been such doing, doing, doing and stressing. People die out of stress. I mean, if the graveyards were really truthfully putting on the grave, what did they die of? It should be, I mean, 50% is stress
yeah.
and they walk, so yeah, going more within and taking a breath and enjoy life more. It's such a struggle for many people.
Yeah, and I do keep coming back to, I spend so much time looking at nature and every single species. I mean, the birds are obviously building nests at the moment and, sort of
Yeah,
out eating. And so, most animals will spend, depending whether they're nocturnal or diurnal, they'll be building homes, finding food and water and
that's
safe places to do, and then resting a lot in between.
yeah,
And we've got a lot to learn from that. And
absolutely.
the next question is how do we decipher the bias of created AI? Certainly, its creator has or had bias to its agenda, which is so true.
I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, not the big ones. But like I said, there are coming up some better ones and local ones, and but the big monsters, I mean, if you look at certain interviews, there's actually a really good documentary coming out now on the 28th. I've seen trailers of it. I can't remember the name, but I think that's going to go absolutely viral. And he interviews all these big guys at the top. And one of them got a question like, do you think, if we roll this out, that we're going to survive? And is humanity worth saving?
Mm.
It took more than 30 seconds before he answered, which the guy that interviewed was like, well, you kind of answered my question here. So, and he said, well, we let it out. I mean, these guys, some of at the top, I feel also they just want to see how far it can go
Mm.
because they know they're going to die. So they just rolling it out like they don't really care, I feel like.
Yeah. Yes,
So,
completely, completely.
yeah.
And then this one is a good one. Is China's AI healthcare system liberation or biometric control?
Mm.
Both.
I mean, talking about China, I think it's control. I mean, they come
Mm.
from history. They have that. They have put, I can't remember, they put in 2 or 3 billion US in healthcare, but they're doing it now. They are piloted like 50 hospital plus 500 rural cities
Yeah.
to just diagnose, costs and everything. So, and they already have a hospital with no people whatsoever. It's just AI that's doing everything. So, I, you know, China has everything. I mean, they got the social credit scores and everything, so it's a lot of control there, I feel,
And I
sadly.
think I would absolutely say I completely agree with what you say. And for me, I'm just going to throw into the mix in most of our countries, they're rolling out sort of legal euthanasia, controlled dying, which of course, when you say about someone who's really suffering in so much pain with a terminal illness where there's no help, people, just like we do for our pets, would say the kindest thing to do is to give them that choice. But
Yeah,
actually, bear in mind everything you're feeding into. There's so many examples now in Canada, and I think the latest one was possibly in Germany, um, where they're for mental health issues. So be careful,
yeah,
be really careful what information you put into AI because
yeah.
you don't know what they're going to use that information for. Certainly all us conspiracy theorists are a bit stuffed. Because
Absolutely.
that goes down as a mental illness. So, and one more question, which I love this from Joe on your Substack, Kim. How does human emotion figure into the AI process? We are emotional beings making decisions
Mm,
that are not just based on the algorithm of zeros and one. Um,
yeah.
what do you think about that?
I think again, there's a balance and there's a choice in this. But saying that though, we are emotionally, we kind of tick into the, oh, feed me the good stuff. Or they're so polite and they just want to serve. And I asked when I used to have ChatGPT, I had it on the phone and I said, can you just be angry sometimes?
Yeah.
No, no. So you got no kind of
Friction.
resistance or friction, yeah, nothing, which is not good, I
Mm.
don't think at all. So our emotions are being fed just pink fluffy cotton at the moment if we use it in the wrong way. So again, there's a balance and a choice, but people are getting attached and addicted to these, oh, you're having a bad day. How
Yeah.
can I help? It's like they go into these because I've tested it in so many different ways and it's scary. And I understand, especially in the mental, if they're not steady or teenager, I completely understand it because it's just like, oh, but it's like this, it's cotton wool around. So emotionally, not so good if
Yeah.
you're using it like that.
Really, really important. So thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so much
Oh,
to
lovely to
everyone.
see you.
That's it. There's so much more. I'm hoping that people will be interested in this. We want your questions below. All of Kim's links about how you can connect with her on Substack, on Instagram. Where else would you like people to connect? Those are the main two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Emilu, my daughter, is helping me with some shorts and stuff. I'm horrible with social media,
My
so she's
daughter does
sorting.
mine too. Yeah,
I
she's
know it's great.
fantastic.
But I want to
Yeah.
say to my audience as well on Substack, and please follow Catherine on her Substack because you're doing so many amazing interviews, which is so important in areas where I'm not in, like for animals. If you're an animal lover, please go to Catherine's Substack and follow because that you have some amazing information.
Thank you so much. So let us know your thoughts, your questions, what you want us to be talking more about below. We will go away and, keep on top of this, keeping the balance because we really need this
Yeah.
information. Thank you so much, Kim, and thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
everyone who's been listening. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. About something that has been an absolute game changer in my life and that of my family and all my clients. So what if you could carry a protective high energy field everywhere you go? Turn your home and phone into a high consciousness sanctuary in minutes. Have you ever noticed how some places lift you up and others drain you? A walk in nature, a sacred site, time with animals or high vibe people. You feel clear, calm and alive. And then you step into a noisy, stressed place, phones, Wi-Fi, blue light, fear in the air, and your energy tanks. So what if you could take that uplifting field with you? Well, you can, and it's called FLFE, Focus Life Forced Energy. Using advanced, non-invasive tech, FLFE creates a high consciousness field around your home, workplace, and phone, or even a personal object. No extra routines, no extra things to do. Once it's on, it runs 24/7 in the background of life and you have complete control of it. People report things like deeper, more restful sleep, calmer emotions and less stress, sharper focus and productivity, and really importantly, support for harmonizing EMFs in your environment. Think of it like carrying the feeling of your favorite nature spot on demand while you commute, parent, work, or rest. And the best part is you can try absolutely free for 15 days, no credit card required. You can experience a shift for yourself. So please do check out the link below, turn it on for your home and your phone, and feel the difference and decide for yourself. We take our energy everywhere and we absorb energy everywhere. So make sure yours is coherent, protective and high vibe with FLFE. Try it free for 15 days, no card, and the link's in the description. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. And above all, stay curious and stay free.